Job creation and economic diversification gets a boost as President Muhammadu Buhari launches gold purchase program. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo reiterates federal government's determination to support businesses in the country at third MSME award ceremony. Plus, federal government commences distribution of palliatives to farmers in Zamfara State. These and more on today's Panorama with me, Ifoma Ojinta. Many thanks for joining us. Burning issues affecting Nigeria's national development aspirations and the best way forward towards achieving the next level agenda were thoroughly analyzed as President Muhammadu Buhari received in audience presiding officers of the National Assembly. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that discussions centered on the state of the nation.
The coronavirus pandemic notwithstanding, it has been continuous engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, and Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila. The latest, which lasted more than 1 hour behind closed doors, was to compare notes on the state of the nation in furtherance of their genuine commitment towards achieving a greater Nigeria, as explained by Senate President Ahmed Lawan.
I imagine that at the end of the day, the trajectory of ensuring a very good and purposeful operational way of doing things between the two arms will continue. Mr. President has always respected the legislature. He has always commended the National Assembly members for always been there to ensure that the requests by the executive in the national interest are processed, and we are sure that every member of the National Assembly has always been there to ensure that we do the right thing for this country, and Mr. President is in full support of our position that this relationship must be sustained at all times for the benefit of the people of Nigeria.
Senate President Ahmed Lawan could not, however, confirm whether or not the raging controversy between the executive and the legislature over the planned recruitment of 774,000 job seekers by the federal government was discussed at the meeting.
If you are an appointee of the president, you are supposed to be reflective of the attitude of the president towards the National Assembly. And the National Assembly will continue to work with Mr. President, but the National Assembly will take exception to any attitude or disposition that is not in support of the harmony in the relationship between the two arms of government.
He said the 9th National Assembly is committed to sustaining the existing cordiality with the executive in the best interests of Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari received in audience the distinguished Senate President, Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawal, and Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, at the State House, Aso Villa. A statement by Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President's Media and Publicity, said the meeting, which lasted for almost an hour, was characterized by an engaging discussion on a range of key issues of national importance, particularly the role of the legislature as a critical component in supporting their common goal and commitment towards improving the lives of the people of Nigeria. In the course of their conversation, recent events at the National Assembly were highlighted, and the President re-emphasized his utmost respect for the National Assembly, adding that any disrespect of the institution by any member of the executive branch will not be accepted. Ministers and all heads of departments and agencies should at all times conduct themselves in ways that will not undermine the National Assembly as an institution, its leadership and members. The President and the leaders of the National Assembly recognized and acknowledged that the executive and legislative arms of government are essential partners in the fulfillment of their mutually aligned goal of improving the lives of the Nigerian people. A momentous milestone has been achieved in the Buhari administration's effort at job creation and economic diversification with the launch of an unprecedented gold purchase program. The ceremony, performed virtually by President Muhammadu Buhari as part of the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Initiative, is designed to put a stop to illegal mining in Nigeria, standardize the activity and mobilize the enormously untapped resources potentials in the sector. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the event witnessed a public presentation and handover of 12.5 kg gold bar valued at over 268 million naira to the Central Bank of Nigeria on behalf of the nation's artisanal miners.
Efforts are developing sustainable programs that will catalyze increased investment in the extraction and refining of gold sourced from mine fields in Nigeria, which President Buhari described as vital.
The Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative will enable the deployment of financing schemes that will help miners improve on the quality of mining operations. Furthermore, efforts are being made to support artisanal miners in improving the standard of the gold that will be sold to the central bank in order to ensure that they meet international benchmarks.
With Nigeria estimated to have lost close to $3 billion between 2012 to 2018 alone due to illegal smuggling of gold, the Central Bank of Nigeria's gold buying program will not only inject sanity but also ensure that artisanal miners are no longer subjected to the volatility in gold prices that occurs in the absence of credible off-takers.
We expect that close to 250,000 jobs would be created for improved gold mining operations. Improved mining operation could lead to the generation of over $500 million United States dollars annually in royalties and taxes. These developments will also help in improving our foreign reserves by enabling the Central Bank of Nigeria to increase the amount of gold in its reserves.
And given the expected gains from increased gold mining operations to the Nigerian economy, the Buhari presidency is reassuring the nation that the government will continue to do its very best towards promoting policies and programs that will engender economic growth and job creation.
Presently, we had to take this gold that's been aggregated out of the country for refinement. The ministry has licensed 2 private sector participators in gold refinery.
For those who feel that the only way they analyze Nigeria is to say, oh, what is the price of crude? They will now begin to see that at this time, when the price of crude is low and the price of gold is rising, that the Nigerian economy remains strong, Nigerian economy remains resilient to withstand the exogenous shock that we see around us today.
And I believe this is an initiative that will see us do more individually and collectively to boost gold production.
I would say it's not yet mission accomplished, but with its vision established, we know where we're going, and we have started the journey, and we're going at a very fast speed, and I hope that this will translate into a better life.
The contributions of the mining subsector to the economy rose from 0.03% in 2012 to 0.8% at the moment due to the financial intervention by the Buhari administration. And with the Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative, Nigeria's economic well-being can only be enhanced. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has given directives for better coordination among security and investigating agencies with the National Assembly to ensure that the administration's efforts to bring sanity, transparency and accountability to the management of the large amount of resources dedicated to development of the Niger Delta sub-region is not derailed. Elizabeth Omori has details of the President's directives.
In his reaction to the unfolding drama, which include attacks and counterattacks between and around persons, institutions, and the Niger Delta Development Commission, President Muhammadu Buhari expressed a strong determination to get to the root of the problem, undermining the development of the Niger Delta and its people, in spite of enormous national resources voted year after year for this singular purpose. According to the directive, auditing firms and investigative agencies working in collaboration with the National Assembly committees to resolve the challenges in the NDDC must initiate actions in a time-bound manner and duly inform the presidency on the actions being taken. The president also directed timely sharing of information and knowledge in a way to speedily assist the administration to diagnose what had gone wrong in the past and what needs to be done to make corrections in order to return the NDDC to its original mandate of making life better for the people in the Niger Delta and, by extension, bring rapid, even and sustainable development to the region. The Nigerian leader gave firm assurance that his administration would put a transparent and accountable governance framework not only in the NDDC but in all other institutions of government. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has described micro, small and medium enterprises operators in Nigeria as champions working to keep the economy afloat and reiterates the federal government's determination in the support of businesses in the country. This was during the 3rd Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Award held virtually. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Since the inception of the awards program in 2018, thousands of micro, small and medium enterprises operators have been participating. At the first 2 editions of the award ceremony, many of them went home with cash and other gift items that would help them advance in their chosen business areas. MDAs, states and organizations equally received recognition for their cooperation and support for micro, small and medium enterprises to thrive, and also in improving World Bank rating of the country. Same goes for the 3rd edition of the MSME Awards, and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo commends organizers for keeping the dream alive.
And we as a government owe it to you and all of you who are attending this virtual event and the tens of millions of others nationwide to create an enabling environment for you to thrive. This is President Muhammadu Buhari's commitment to all of the millions of MSMEs in Nigeria that will continue to stand by you, to support you, and to create opportunities for you to grow and prosper.
For the nation, Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, says the future is bright as all participants rely on local materials for production.
We are improving on our policies. We are improving on the ease of doing business. We're also improving on access to credit and creating space.
We are confident that this will go on to spur a lot more MSMEs to even do better than they are doing right now.
The support for local businesses is one key area of the government's economic sustainability plan in response to COVID-19, and which the Buhari administration says it's committed to. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NJ News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has described as highly beneficial and worthy of sustainable the strong bonds of friendship between Nigeria and Pakistan, characterized by extensive military-to-military engagement. This was at the virtual farewell meeting with the outgoing Pakistani High Commissioner to Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
President Muhammadu Buhari described Nigeria-Pakistani relationship as not only wide but far-reaching. He singled out the area of military cooperation between the two countries, describing it as mutually beneficial. He particularly appreciated the Pakistani military training of the Nigerian army. The president commended the outgoing envoy for strengthening the relations in the area of economic cooperation. Ambassador King Ravi had thanked President Buhari and indeed Nigerians for what he called the fruitful, enjoyable and educative tour of Nigeria. He pledged his country's willingness to provide further military support to combat insurgency as well as promote All other causes dear to the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Let's take a break now. Panorama continues shortly. Do stay.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Welcome back. Now, new figures coming in from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, shows almost 600 new cases of coronavirus and 9 deaths recorded in the country. These 595 new cases brings the total number of confirmed cases in Nigeria to 34,854. Of these new cases, Lagos has 156, Ondo 95, Rivers 53, Abia 43, Oyo 38, Enugu 29, Edo 24. The FCT has 23, Kaduna 20, Akwa Ibom, Osun and Anambra states recorded 17 new cases each. Ogun has 14, Kano 13, Imo 11, Delta 6, Ekiti 5, Gombe 4, Plateau 4, Cross River 2, while Adamawa, Bauchi, Jigawa and Yobe recorded 1 new case each. Lagos tops number of confirmed cases by state in Nigeria with a total of 13,097 cases. Next is the FCT with 2,761 cases, followed by Oyo State with 1,989 cases. There are now 14,292 recovered and discharged COVID-19 patients, with 769 deaths on record so far. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has revealed that 63% of hand sanitizers in circulation in the nation's capital do not have NAFDAC registration number. Chairman of the task force, Boss Mustafa, has therefore advised Nigerians to be circumspect and avoid purchasing substandard products. Mitari Ipen reports on Thursday's briefing by the PTF in Abuja.
One of the non-pharmaceutical measures recommended by the PTF to contain the spread of COVID-19 in line with global practice is the use of hand sanitizers.
Ordinarily, that ought to stimulate local production because of increased demand. However, we regret to inform you that following a survey conducted by the Nigeria Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRID, 63% of alcohol-based sanitizers in Abuja do not have NAFDAC registration numbers. The Presidential Task Force appeals to the patriotic spirit of Nigerians and requests that they should desist from manufacturing substandard goods which could further endanger our unsuspecting Nigerians who innocently purchase them.
With fatality rate of COVID-19 in Nigeria put at 2.1% so far, senior citizens remain at high risk of contracting the virus.
And we also know that younger people have died. Here in Abuja, the youngest person to die from COVID was just 38 years old. So we are all at risk.
COVID-19 must not be trivialized. All citizens must care for themselves, their families, and each other.
Last week I mentioned that we've been working on a new platform through which people will be able to check their results themselves, actually. And that platform is nearly ready.
We'll also be looking at what other policies or framework can be put in place as far as coronavirus is concerned and the contamination of the air we breathe.
Following the resumption of domestic flights, violation of laid-down protocols by some VIPs has not escaped the notice of the Presidential Task Force.
If you are found to be an unruly passenger because you are a big man, VIP, the simplest that we could do, the easiest, simplest thing that we could do is to refer you to the police, and they must, by law, prosecute you regardless, and it will be not less than 2 months. And I'm sure you wouldn't want to be a criminal for one day.
State governments are encouraged to recruit more health professionals to boost their response to the pandemic. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
The federal government's special public works program has kicked off in Niger State with the inauguration of the selection committee, which says it is set to ensure only the targeted beneficiaries get the offer. Fatima Usman reports that the 20-member committee cuts across different interest groups in the state.
The federal government public works program is targeted at unskilled, unemployed youths at the grassroots, with each local government in Nigeria having 1,000 slots, hence 774,000 people for the entire country. Niger State, which is made up of 25 local government areas, is to provide a list of 25,000 youths for the program, slated to commence in October this year and to last 3 months. The program, which is also designed for each state to determine how best to utilize the benefiting youth, is to pay each beneficiary 20,000 naira. The chairman of the Niger State Selection Committee, Muhammad Musa Abdul, who inaugurated other members of the committee, described the task as daunting, considering the 3 weeks duration given for the selection. He emphasized the need for them to be just and fair in identifying the most deserving youths to contribute to nation building. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, represented by the Commissioner for Youths, reiterated the state government support for the program. In Mina, I am Fatima Usman, NTA News.
The federal government says no efforts will be spared at improving the living standard of the people, especially those in need of assistance. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, said this in Zamfara State at the inauguration of distribution of palliative to victims of COVID-19 lockdown and fertilizers to farmers affected by flood. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
More than 130 trailer loads of grains were delivered in Zamfara State as part of the federal government commitment to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians. This is out of the 70,000 metric tons of grains approved by the federal government, in addition to the payment of 5,000 naira to more than 130,000 poorest of the poor households in the state from the month of May and June 2020. The distribution of about 30,000 bags of fertilizer has also commenced to about 5,000 farmers affected by conflict in the area.
It is the concern of the federal government that all disruptions occasioned by banditry are brought to an end, and the people of Zamfara State peacefully settle down to continue continue with their legitimate activities.
We have been making effort to provide gainful opportunity for our youth. We are aware that most of our youth are forced into acts of inimical to our state security and drug abuse because of poverty and lack of engagement in any activity that will earn them a livelihood.
Director General of NEMA, A Vice Marshal Muhammadu Muhammad, said the agency will work hand in hand with the State Emergency Management Agency to ensure door-to-door distribution of the items to the beneficiaries. From Gusau in Zamfara State, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
Nigeria continues to mourn combat helicopter pilot flying officer Tolulope Arotile with condolence visits to the Chief of the Air Staff. The Minister of Women Affairs, the Senate and House committees on Air Force and other women groups are among recent callers to the headquarters, Nigerian Air Force. Defense correspondent Naja Atutijani reports.
It's a parade of tears as representatives of women groups from across the country, led by the Minister of Women Affairs, condole with the Chief of the Air Staff.
We have lost a pride in the force. I pray that the Almighty God will console the Air Staff and the entire Air Force family and her family.
Similarly, a delegation of parliamentarians, including members of the Senate and House committees on Air Force, paid tribute to Nigeria's record breaker.
Loss, not only to the Air Force, but to the entire Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Nigeria Governors Forum expressed deepest sorrow at the sudden and tragic death of Nigeria's first female combat helicopter pilot. The chairman of the forum and governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, described the late Tolulope as a brilliant and promising officer who had demonstrated a commitment to peace and security of the nation. Naja Atutijani, NTA News.
And that concludes Panorama for today. We thank you for watching.